Hello, one and all. This is my reaction review and cut discussion of Dr. Stone New World Part 2, Episode 8. And holy mother of God, I'm excited, because last week ended with Ibara seemingly petrifying the entire island, only to find out that Senku somehow, someway managed to avoid that fate. And if this episode follows the pattern I think it will, 3 chapters like the last few episodes, holy mother of God above, this is going to be fun. As we're going to see one of the greatest moments of the Kingdom of Science, one of, if not the greatest battle in this entire series, and then an ending that literally made me cry when I first read it in the manga, and I cannot freaking wait for it. So let's get started in 3, 2, before I begin, this episode will probably cover chapters 135, 136, and 137. Just letting you know if you want to check out for yourselves. Alright, starting in 3, 2, 1. Oh yes, Ibara with his evil laughter. Oh, that's unnerving. Seriously, what is with this man's voice? I actually want to give an Oscar to his voice actor for just coming off as that unnerving and creepy. And again, I know I mentioned this, last week, but Ibara's plan here was utterly insane, as he's hoping that somehow Senku and his team have enough magic water on them to revive somebody else, and if they don't, this old man just, basically imprison himself on an island all by himself for the rest of his rather short life. So, yeah, that would really freaking suck. Honestly, it would have been hilarious. It would have been absolutely hilarious if Senku's plan had worked right there, and that was all it took to take down Ibara, the biggest, baddest of this series. Obviously not the biggest, baddest, but the most unnerving biggest, baddest. Last man standing, which, yeah, one-on-one. Whoever managed to beat the other will truly be the last man standing on this island. It is actually kind of interesting they use the term alive here, because, petrifying someone doesn't actually kill them, and while Ibara thought that was the case before, now he knows the truth, and he's still saying alive. So maybe he's thinking that the miracle water actually, brings them back from the dead rather than unpetrifying them? Rather curious. Yeah, I mean, that might work, but also there's a fairly decent chance your finger will just, fall off when it doesn't turn to stone and the rest of you does. I mean, there's no real good way to test that, honestly. Jesus. Wow, that was dark. Seriously, the thing actually turned green. Oh, that's unnerving. Love it. Right there, Chrome. Just God above. Chrome is really the, hero of the day right now. He figured out what's happening. He figured out exactly how the Medusa works, more or less, and he figures out the strategy for actually saving the entire world. God, I love this man. Yeah, it is honestly kind of a disgusting plan, as it uses every single member of the Kingdom of Science, who's currently on the island, as a sacrificial pawn, all for Senku's sake. I mean, this just shows such an overwhelming level of trust. I'm just so absolutely excited to finally see it animated. Love this. I mean, he could have just said 5 meters, but the thing is, a lot of people, here are from the Stone Age. They don't actually know what a meter is, and even if they did, actually thinking, okay, how far is 5 meters exactly, can take you a lot of time to figure out. Where if you say, the length of a car, everybody knows what that means, and they can more or less create a fairly, decent estimation of that distance. Huzzah! Seriously, certain death is coming towards him very quickly, and he is not fazed at all. He's not even looking at it. He's looking backwards to his people to make sure they get this right, to make sure the plan goes off without a hitch. Oh, Chrome is fantastic. Yes, as soon as a person's hand starts to petrify, they lift up the other hand to let Senku know that that is the exact point where the light hit them. I love everyone has their own, hand motion. Ryu has like this whole cool, like, hey, I'm leaving it to you. It's basically a wave, whereas Jen is actually like a full hand wave. It just shows all their individual natures in such a fantastic way. Seriously, Katsuki is freaking laughing at this. Their trust in Senku is literally insane. They don't have a shadow of a doubt that Senku will get the math right, that Senku will figure out a way to save all of them, and it's fantastic. He does. He actually does. The math here is, probably not all that complicated. Even I could probably figure it out, but at the same time, I couldn't figure out in like the 10 seconds I'm waiting to be petrified with the pressure of, okay, I'm about to be freaking petrified. Oh my god, I love you, Magma. Let's beat the C out of this dang beam. Oh, that's so Magma. Just, wanting to actually fight the beam itself. So I guess we should all just be, incredibly grateful that he actually, got the instructions correctly and knew when to raise his arm, or he might have killed all of them. And of course he still threatens to beat up Senku, which just, again, so Magma. Oh man, if only Senku was an expert counter who had literally 3,000 years of counting experience. Seriously, you cannot beat Senku when it comes to counting. He is truly a god. Oh, I love that golden light revival fluid. Oh, just looks so amazing on the, green background of the petrification beam all around it. It's so fantastic. I love this scene, I think, a bit more in the manga, because you can really see, like, the terror in Senku's eyes as the stone gets closer and closer to his face. Though noticeably, it doesn't actually petrify him all the way. It doesn't petrify right here, so he keeps his crack marks, which is a rather interesting detail. I always took it to mean that, Senku wasn't ready to let them go, wasn't ready to, be welcomed into the new world yet. He still had a goal, he still had a plan, he still had visions, and until those are actually reached, until he's actually managed to revive everyone, he's going to keep the scars, going to keep the cracks. There we go! Senku's alive! Huzzah! Yeah, that was probably, really freaking terrifying. Especially since, his whole arm, good chunk of his body, was just turned to stone and then unturned to stone in the span of, I think, like 3 seconds. So, yeah, Senku, take a breather. You absolutely deserve it. I love it. I love he high-fives everyone, them letting know that, they did it. They are the reason why he succeeded, and now, the baton has been passed to him. It's now his job to save all of them, to save the world. Actually jumped there for a second. That was kind of loud, I'm sorry. Love that. But I will say, I have actually fully misread this scene in the past. I always, and here's the page, here's how it looks in the manga. I always assumed his hand hurt from high-fiving everyone, since they were, literally made of stone. Turns out it's the result of trying to punch his way through this dude's chest. Which is even dumber. Seriously, Senku, in what world did you think that would be seriously, Senku, in what world did you think it would actually be possible for you to break stone with your bare hands? Do the math, man, seriously. I think technically we have self-driving cars now, but yeah, by the time when this manga first came out, the idea of a self-driving car was utterly insane. Now it's just, mildly insane. I don't think they're all that good, honestly. He ran him over. Seriously. Senku just ran this dude over with a car. Oh, that is utterly and completely insane. Oh, I love it. Though, interestingly enough, if he'd done it with, the other side of the car, if he'd, driven forward into him instead of backwards, I think he would have cut off his legs, considering there's, these giant blades in the front of the mobile science lab for some reason. That feels like a rather weird inclusion. I also do just love that Senku's whole I've developed this self-driving car thing is just him literally tying a rope that he jumped on. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, that was brutal. A bit more brutal in the manga, but still. Jesus freaking Christ. Yeah, Senku, do not underestimate Ibara. There's a reason why this man has left the island for, literal freaking decades. He's really freaking smart and prepared for almost any situation. Seriously. I mean, honestly, think about it. Ibara only learned about the projectile weapon, maybe 20 minutes ago, when he was still on the ship. And at some point since then, I guess after he convinced Orochi to run to the center of the island, he went out of his way to make himself a special shell armor, just in case the Kingdom of Science managed to shoot at him a second time. That is an insane level of prep work right there. Seriously. Ibara, I hate to tell you, but Senku already ran away during your long monologuing thing. Seriously. Yeah, he's gone, man. He's freaking gone. Why would you take your eyes off the enemy? That is a very dumb move for a very cautious man. Oh, if only those had actually hit him. I mean, seriously, that is literally freaking acid right there. It would have burned a hole in his chest and might have ended that fight immediately. Seriously, imagine how dark it would be just seeing Ibara basically melting as the acid goes further and further into him. Oh my god, that would definitely, crank up the age rating in this series by quite a bit. I'm gonna go pew pew with science arrows. Oh, Senku, that's amazing. And as stupid as that excuse actually is, it's also just such a great way of preparing for what comes next. Giving him an excuse to actually hold that in his hand. Oh, I'm so excited for this. I guess actually a little bit disappointing because this is one of the best panels in the manga, as you can actually see just in the very corner of it, Senku holding the telephone, holding the communicator, which, first time you're looking at this okay, it's not that big a deal, you move on, you're like, okay, what's going on, what's happening? But then, on rereading, you think to yourself, wait a minute, why was Senku holding the microphone? And come to think of it, why exactly did he bother carrying this giant, heavy backpack all throughout the woods while he was running for his life and also heavily, heavily bleeding? Wouldn't the smarter choice have been to, drop it off, to leave it behind? But, oh no, my fellow readers, this is in fact all part of the big, massive plan for overcoming Ibara. And just the fact this panel, this page foreshadows it, is so absolutely fantastic, and I love it. And right there is where Ibara realizes, wait a minute, is there a chance I've been led into a trap here? Because this is exactly where they were planning on going before. Interesting. Concerning. Love it. Absolutely love it. All the throwing around wasn't just an attempt to, straight up murder Ibara. It was also Senku's way of reviving his greatest ally in this fight. Without Ibara even noticing. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I mean, seriously, no one other than Ryu could react that quickly to the situation, could see things, could figure out exactly what Senku was going for, and, plan accordingly. I mean, seriously, looking back, why on God's green earth would Senku bring this giant, heavy phone around with him while running for his life? It makes no sense unless that's part of his plan. I mean, I think even Ibara should have noticed that. Yeah, he said that line directly into the microphone to signal Ryu to, pop out and save the day with their drone. I mean, seriously, we should have all seen this coming. There's no way they build a freaking goddamn drone and then never use it. That would be completely insane. Yeah, seriously. Ibara has no context for a bird that is also a, machine. There's also a piece of sorcery, essentially. Though I guess, he did see the mobile science lab and he figured out, oh, this is something they move around with science. So he should be able to figure out exactly what, or more or less figure out exactly what the drone is. Oh, I love Ryu, seriously. Not just his greed, but also his overwhelming skill at piloting a drone that was basically built with scrap and Stone Age technology. I mean, this should not be that hard of a fight. There's two of them, even if one of them is Senku, and Ibara has, a bullet hole in his hand. This man should not be able to pull with, even a fraction of his full strength. Though I guess Senku was also stabbed in the arm, so Senku isn't really contributing all that much anyway. Not that I'd expect Senku to contribute all that much anyway. Ryu is definitely the stronger of the two. Seriously, I love that old man's quick thinking. He saw that his rope broke and immediately countered by throwing his scarf, whatever, at the device and actually managing to wrap around it. That's impressive right there. Actually, no, used to be a warrior, but even if that was the case, dude, you were shot in the hand. How are you even holding on to this thing right now? Like, the very muscles and nerves in your hand should be so shot that you can't even make a fist, and yet you're playing tug of war. I mean, at this point, you almost deserve to win. Especially when, even with that injury, you're managing to literally drag Senku and Ryu towards you. Oh, that is insane. I love it. I absolutely love it. The entire purpose and reasoning behind this old man's hat was for this. Was so he could throw it to push the Medusa away from him after it had been activated. Holy mother of God, that is insane, and just goes to show how truly prepared Ibara is, and another reason why I think this is the best fight of the entire series. I mean, maybe the battle for the Stone Cave is a bit better, but this feels honestly more exciting. And just has so many twists and turns, especially this next part, which, oh, I'm going to savor this. I'm absolutely going to savor this. Seems like all hope is lost until... Seriously. He's prepared. He is prepared for this exact situation. I mean, like I said, Ibara almost deserves to win for how much work he puts into this. I mean, I feel like that's a line that's about to be used against you, old man. I'm sorry, just saying. I mean, Yeah, they kind of are more sly than him. I mean, like I said, he is a genius and he is insanely strong, but they are a bit more sly than him, just saying. My freaking man, Ryu, just ran headfirst into the Medusa, into the petrification beam, to just stop Ibara. Seriously, this is like the most insane panel in the manga. Ryu just flying through the air while made of stone. Oh, I love it. Yeah, take that, Ibara. Take my stone statue force. Oh, that scared him, seriously. I mean, wouldn't that terrify you? This man just showed absolutely zero fear of death. He knew that he'd get shattered as soon as he fell to the ground, but he still did it. Right there. Right freaking there. Oh, I love it. Seriously, just those little details, those little bits of foreshadowing you only notice on the second watch that make this series so absolutely fantastic. Yep, he noticed. My man Ryu, while in the midst of being petrified, managed to attach the earring to the Medusa, allowing Senku to win this fight. Oh, that is so fantastic, and also just such a great use of the earring. I mean, seriously, when this was, first introduced, started this arc, it's like, oh, this way we communicate with one another. But in truth, this was always the author's plan, to use it here and now, turn the tides, and win the battle, and I love it. I absolutely freaking love it! 1 second. That's it. Game over. Senku won. Huzzah! I do think he looked a bit more terrified in the manga, but still. I can't stop smiling. This is good. This is really good right here. Finally putting an end to that freaking old man. Fantastic. And that's it. Senku won. Huzzah! Well, I say Senku, but really, this is everyone. Literally everyone worked with him to get this done. The entire Kingdom of Science all lined up 5 years apart to make sure that Senku could get the math right to save himself. And Ryu literally ran headfirst into the Medusa and Ibara to stop him, just to get the earring on the device. This is a win for everybody. Senku is just, the last man standing. Holy mother of God, that roar, that scream. I mean, I know I've said it many times that I think the manga is better, but just Jesus, mother of God above. Times like this, when you can really just hear the emotions of the actors, just really amps up the feel of these scenes, and I so love it. Yeah, also, he just got the petrification device. He just got not only the thing he needs to save Tsukasa, but the source behind the 3,700 years of suffering, of being turned to stone, of the ultimate device of science. That's a big deal. That is a really big freaking deal. Love this. Seriously, I mean, Senku doesn't, talk about it all that much, but let's not forget he spent an entire year by himself alone before he managed to wake up Taiju. An entire year of, fighting every day just to survive, of just trying his best not to die, of trying his best to figure out a way to revive, to wake up his best friend so he wouldn't be all alone. That took a severe toll on his mental health, and usually we just don't see it. Usually he just hides it, but now he's, flashing back to all that. He's remembering what it was like to be alone, and now he's alone all over again. He's back to where he started. With that line of science literally written in his own freaking blood, his own dedication, his own promise to keep pushing forward, to never give up on science. Oh, I love this man. Honestly, I think the manga, that was even more of a surprise, because, I mean, it's this whole, like, flashback we just got here was literally one page in the manga, and then just the ringing sound at the very end, as Senku got a reminder that he's not alone anymore. There are still people out there, there are still, people alive on Earth that he knows about, and who he can talk to. He's done so much in these last 3 years, 4 years? I'm honestly not entirely sure about the timeline anymore. And just this reminder that he's managed to wake up people, just a reminder that he's managed to get allies is just such emotionally healing for him. Well, I'll tell you this. It has been an interesting week or 2 or 3. I'm, again, not entirely sure about the timeline here. So we managed to get the Medusa. Also, everyone's been turned to stone. Also, that Soyuz dude who lived in the village, who didn't actually have a name, turns out he does have a name. His name is Soyuz, and he's actually the master of this island, which is way bigger than our village. I mean, that's a story. That's a story right there for sure. I mean, literally, he literally has allies willing to die for him now, unlike that time when he was all by himself. And they just have such absolute faith in him, assured that he will manage to overcome these obstacles, and assured that he will manage to freaking save them, baby! No, you aren't, Senku. No, you freaking aren't. Right, next episode, First Dream, which, oh yeah. Oh, that's gonna be fun. Honestly, I'm definitely gonna look up other people's reactions to the episode because, oh, it's gonna be a wild one for sure. Oh, I can't wait. So, that's the episode 9. I think we have 11 episodes of the season. Not really sure what we're gonna do with the remaining 2. I mean, obviously there's more story to tell, but are they really gonna start us up on the next journey? I'm really not sure about that, because, actually, let me take a look real quick. Just remember exactly what happens next. Oh yeah, just remember, next episode is also going to bring us one of my favorite characters in this series, and I am very excited to see exactly how he's going to be drawn, because in the manga, he has a very unique style that is interesting. It's going to be hard to replicate in anime form, but I'm excited to see them try. Yeah, just looked ahead. I'm honestly not sure exactly where they're going to end things, because, I mean, honestly, next episode could be the ending, or the episode after that could be the ending. They're both really good endpoints for this season, but the fact that we have another episode after that makes me wonder if maybe they're going to, drag things out a bit, add some padding into this, which I would not mind at all. There's so much more we could see here. There's so many more scenes that could use just a bit more context, a bit more detail. I would absolutely love that, but it's hard to say. Anyway, though, fantastic episode. We got to see the absolute faith that the Team of Science has in Senku. We got to see what might literally be the best fight in this entire series. I mean, seriously, the back and forth between Senku and Ibara was fantastic. And then we got to see just Senku reflecting on the fact that he is no longer alone. There are people out there who care about him, and you just have such absolute faith in him, and I loved it. But please let me know what you think down below, what you think of this episode, what you think of this season overall. Where exactly do you think things are going to end? And until next time, peace!